Hey everyone, Kyle from Voids to Full. Today we're going to be taking a look at your Titan's arcs and corridors, how that affects your ability to move and shoot, and what bonuses that gives to your opponent when they're shooting at you. The best place to start is looking at the arc templates provided in any starter box or rule set for the game. And just by attaching these templates to the front of your Titan's base, it clearly defines all of your arcs and the maximum you can turn left and right. So before we look at your Titan's arcs and facing, we should probably talk about how you can best align your Titan's base with the arc template. What I've done on all of my models is I've actually put a transfer or a marker right in the middle of the front lip of the base. And what I do is I align that marker with the arrow on the template. And that just lets me get everything dead center before I do all my turns and movement. There's a designer's note in the rulebook that mentions putting maybe 45-degree markers on your Titan's base. I would caution against that. There is no pre-measuring in this game, and you have to call a lot of your movements before you do them. I could see some people perceiving that as modeling for advantage, and maybe some tournaments ruling against that in the future, but I would imagine a marker in the middle is fair game and nobody's going to get too bothered by that. Alright, so let's look at how we use this template to actually turn our Titans. What you do is start off with everything centered. So in this case, my forward marker lined up with the arrow of the template. You then turn your Titan left or right to a maximum of 45 degrees, or the edge of the arc template, and then swivel the template to the center of your Titan, in my case the marker. And you would just repeat this process as many times as you want to turn your Titan. Every Titan in this game has 4 arcs that you need to concern yourself with. There is the front arc, where you can fire your arm-mounted weapons, and if an enemy is shooting at you unshielded, or your shields have collapsed, they receive no bonus because it's assumed your front armor is strongest than anywhere else. The side arcs, where if your opponent's attacking you and your shields have collapsed, they actually get a +1 to their armor roll or weapon strength. Your rear arc, where if your opponent's shooting at you unshielded, they gain a +2 to their weapon strength or armor roll, because it's assumed your armor is weakest on your back. And the last one is your front corridor. Now, this is where you can fire your carapace weapons. So anything that falls in that straight square for the weapon's range allows you to shoot all your top-mounted weapons. So, as you can see, 1, I've gotten a little carried away with the crayons, and 2, I've actually drawn out all of the arcs, in this case, for a Warlord Titan. And just by placing that arc template on the front of your Titan, you can see it gives you reference points for every single one of your arcs. In this case, your forward corridor is outlined by the 290-degree sharp edges of the arc template, and your forward arc is shown by the slanted edges of the arc template. So your corridor for your carapace weapons and your front arc for your arm-mounted weapon. Okay, I'm going to rip through some examples just to show you guys what this would look like on the tabletop. In the first one, the Warhound's in the Warlord's front arc and forward corridor. So the Warlord can shoot all of its guns at the Warhound, and if the Warlord was unshielded, the Warhound would get no bonuses for any hits it lands. The The next one, the Warhound is in the side arc, so the Warlord wouldn't be able to shoot any of its weapons at this Warhound. And if it was unshielded, the Warhound would actually get a +1 to any weapon it shoots at the Warlord. Now the Warhound's in the rear arc. Again, the Warlord's in no position to return fire, and if it was unshielded, the Warhound would get a +2 to the armor roll for its weapons. So you can see, just from where the attack originates, it actually makes a huge difference to how effective your weapons can be. And that's on top of any negative modifiers your Warlord might be experiencing, just because its structure tracks are causing additional damage. Alright, we're going back to school. Pop quiz. If this was your tabletop scenario, what bonuses would the Warhound get, and what weapons, if any, would this Warlord be able to fire? Here's your answer. If the Warlord had no modifiers on its structure tracks, the Warhound would receive no bonuses because it's in the Warlord's front arc. The Warlord would only be able to shoot its arm weapons at the Warhound, and would not be able to shoot its carapace weapons because the Warhound is not in its front corridor. So the Warhound is not between the two red lines. Despite how impressive the weapons are on a Warlord Titan, it's actually got a nice little blind spot that can be exploited by smaller Titans when it comes to its carapace weapons. A Warlord's, and actually a Reaver for that matter's, carapace weapons cannot target units that are within a number of inches equal to the firing unit's scale, unless the target is at least the same scale as the attacker. So what that means is a Warlord Titan can only target something smaller than itself with its carapace weapons if they are over 10 inches away from it, because it's scale 10. In the example I have on the screen here, you see the Reaver Titan is 12 inches away from the Warlord Titan. The Reaver's scale is 8, and the Warlord's scale is 10. So because the Reaver is more than 10 inches away from the Warlord, even though it's smaller, it can still be targeted. In the next example, the Reaver is now 6 inches away from the Warlord, but because it's smaller than the Warlord's scale of 10, and within 10 inches of the Warlord, it can't actually shoot its carapace weapons at it. It's a nice little blind spot that you can just zip your Reavers and your Warhounds or Knights right in on the Warlord and not take hits from whatever it has on top. Just leaves you open to its arm weapons. Okay, we're almost there. The last thing I want to talk about is actually your Titan's Void Shields. Think of these as a 2-inch radius protective bubble for your Titan. What it does is it deflects shots away, saving you structure points. So if an enemy Titan is over 2 inches away and they shoot at you, you get a chance to deflect those shots with your Void Shields. But if a Titan's within 2 inches of you, they've actually breached your protective bubble, and their shots go directly against your Titan structure points. So be aware of people charging their Titans in nice and close to you, because they can totally get under your protection and deliver shots straight to your structure. This can be a really sneaky move to do with, say, Knights on a Warlord, and why they're so dangerous. Well, I hope that gives you a better understanding of the areas around your Titan and what they mean. Maybe even some tips and tricks for your next game. Take it easy. I'll catch you on the next one.